think this song is on page 27 or 28. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Divadadari Gopi Janavalabha Divadadari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Chari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Munatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakacharya Ashtotara Shatashi Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakacharya Ashtotara Shatashi Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda गिरि गोवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, मथुरा धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, यमुना माई की जय, गंगा माई की जय, समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय. All glories to the summer devotees. All glories to the summer devotees. All glories to the summer devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Adaksham Ekam Asinam Vijindan Taitam Patim Shuketam Saraswatyam Kritakirtam Akitam. Sanskrit. Got this one? Stop. Tasyan Raktasya Munir Mukunda Pramoda Bhavan Takandarasya Ashvinduto Mam Anuragahasa Samikshaya Vishwamayan Vacha Tasyan Raktasya Munir Mukunda Pramoda Bhavan Takandarasya Ashvinduto Mam Anuragahasa Samikshaya Vishwamayan Vacha Tasyan Raktasya Munir Mukunda Pramoda Bhavan Takandarasya Ashvinduto Mam Anuragahasa Samikshaya Vishwamayan Vacha
Tasyana Raktasya Munir Mukunda Ramoda Bhavanata Kandarasya Ashinvato Mamanaragahasa
Samikshaya Vishwamayanuvacha.
Tasyanuraktassa munirmukunda Pramoda bhavanatakandarasya Ashinvato mamanuragahasa Samikshaya Vishwamayan Uvacha
Tasyanuraktassa Munimukunda Pramoda Bhavanatakantarasya Ashinvato mamanuragahasa Samikshaya Vishwamaya Uvacha
Tasyanuvraktasya mune mukunda Moda bhavanatakandarasya Ashinvato mamanuragahasa Samikshaya Vishwamayanuvacha
Tasyanuraktasya munirmukundaha Pramoda bhavanata kandarasya Ashrinvato mam anuragahasa Samikshaya Vishwamayanuvacha
Tasyanurakshaja munamukunda Pramoda Brandhanata Kandarasya Ashinavatamananuagahasa Samikshaya Vishwamayanuvacha
Tasyanurtaksya munirmukunda Pramoda bhavanantakandarasya Ashrinvato mam anugrahasya Samikshaya Vishwamana Mayan Uvacha
Tasya is my trace. Tasya, although attached, one of the sage. Mukunda, words of salvation, power, and a pleasing attitude. Anata, Lord, Kamarasya of the shoulder. Ashrinvataha, while thus hearing. Mom, unto me. Agahas, smiling. Samiksha, particularly seeing me. Vishwaman, allowing me complete rest. Vacha, Translation. Maitreya Muni was greatly attached to him, the Lord, and he was listening in a pleasing attitude with the shoulder of the Lord. With a smile and a particular glance upon me, having allowed me to rest, the Lord spoke as follows. I can read the purport.
Although both Uddhava and Maitreya were great souls, the Lord's attention was more on Uddhava because he was a spotless pure devotee. A Jnana Bhakta, or one whose devotion is mixed with the monistic viewpoint, is not a pure devotee. Although Maitreya was a devotee, his devotion was mixed. The Lord reciprocates with his devotees on the basis of transcendental love, and not on the basis of philosophical knowledge or fruitive activities. In the transcendental loving service of the Lord, there is no place for monistic knowledge or fruitive activities. The gopis in Vrindavan were neither highly learned scholars nor mystic yogis. They had spontaneous love for the Lord, and thus he became their heart and soul, and the gopis also became the heart and soul of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya approved the relationship of the gopis with the Lord as supreme. Herein, the Lord's attitude towards Uddhava was more intimate than with Maitreya Muni.
Lord Chaitanya, the verse that he used to quote in that regard, Ramya Kachudapasana Brajavadu Bhagina Vakalpita. It means there is no higher realization of transcendental bliss for the Lord than that perceived or conceived of the gopis of Vrindavan. So, and the point is that they were not scholars. They were not necessarily expected to be well-versed in all Vedic scriptures. They were cowherd girls. That means they're in the Vaishya community. Vaishya community means agricultural and taking care of the cows and some other kinds of business practices. But mostly this particular group was especially involved with cow protection. So it's not expected that people coming from a cow community, cow protection community, will be great learned scholars in all the philosophical highest reaches of the Vedic knowledge. But Krishna was more attracted to them than anyone because of their pure, unalloyed, spontaneous attraction to him. That's the point, that one may be very learned in scriptures, but if he's not very developed in bhakti with devotional service, then it's not as pleasing to the Lord. The Lord, of course, appreciates if someone comes to him and says, "My dear Lord Krishna, you are the supreme Brahman. You are the source of everything in the universe. You are the highest attainment of spiritual life." And it goes on and on like that. Krishna is pleased because it's true. And if it's done in a mood of respect and honor, then certainly Krishna reciprocates. But you can't buy his heart that way. If someone may not be very intellectually developed, but if one has natural love for someone else, then that person that's receiving that love, he'll be more inclined to that one. Another example is that if a mother has many children Say she has 10 children. And all the children want her attention at the same time. She will go to the youngest child, the child that's the most forlorn, the child that's the most helpless. And she'll take care of that child first. Because that's her nature. The others, they can look after themselves to some extent. But the baby has no other hope but the mother. And that crying of that baby is the most compelling for the mother. We get the idea that Krishna is interested in unadulterated love, not just yoga, being able to sit in certain postures and control one's mind. That's very good. That is helpful for making further progress. But if one is already attached to Krishna with full devotion, then he doesn't have to go through the Eightfold Mystic Path. He's already there. He's already reached the goal. Is Prema Pamartha Mahan, to reach the ultimate goal of love for Krishna. That's the main point of this verse. Someone else like to say something about it?
Anybody? Anybody? Okay. So this is related with something I was telling somebody yesterday, that Srila Prabhupada's guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, stated that most people want to see God. So they want to, when will I be able to see him? Actually, on the pure platform, that is also perfect. But for the sadhakas like us, who have a little bit of doubt and like a challenging attitude, usually we say, okay, show me God. If you know about him, if you know who he is, why don't you show me him? Can you prove it to me? So that type of challenging attitude, that's not what Maharaj was describing. That say we don't have love for Krishna, so we're practicing, right? We don't have love for God. We have something, right? Or else we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't go to church. We wouldn't pray. We wouldn't read the Bible or read the Vedas, read the Bhagavad Gita, see the deity, chant rounds, any of that. We didn't have some love. So it's a seed and it has to be watered. So say we're in that stage. If we go to the Lord and with the right attitude of respect and honor, then we please him, because that's our platform. That's like where we're at. We're not intimate with him. It's like, say you have your family and some completely new person that you never even met, comes up and starts like, you're with your grandpa or something, and he starts just like, cracking jokes on your grandpa or something, like in front of your face or something. It's kind of strange, you'll be offended for him, even if he's not offended. Because you say, who are you? What are you doing? Similarly, that's the type of thing that happens when we come before Krishna. We say, all right, show me God. Or we go to the devotees and we start criticizing God in front of them, or pretending like we have some right that we are special, that we deserve to have God revealed to me immediately whenever I want. So that attitude, we don't make advancement from our platform with that attitude. We have to develop respect and honor towards God. But the pure devotees, they sing, okay, when will I see Krishna again, right? They're always thinking about seeing Krishna again. And there's a wonderful song about Lord Jagannath that describes, when will I get to see him again? Jagannath is the deity here on the painting. He's the deity with the black skin there. He's actually Krishna himself. But this is a particular deity, Krishna, who's the Lord of the universe, Jagannath, Subhadra, his younger sister, or his sister rather, and Balaram, his brother, who's older. Actually, that's kind of a mystical thing. But they were on the planet together 5,000 years ago. So there's a prayer where the devotee is saying, when will I see Jagannath again? But for us, the point I was trying to make, Srila Prabhupada's guru mentioned, don't try to see God, try to be seen by God. Try to attract his attention to you through your service attitude. Just like, say there's like a company, and in that company, there's some little man, but he's working very diligently to please, his superiors. And when the big man, he gets word, hey, this guy's coming up. He's got an attitude, service attitude. He's working hard. He's putting extra hours. He's thinking about the projects, using his intelligence. He's not dull. He's not lazy. He's really going for it. Then he says, okay, very nice. And then little by little, he sees that person. He says, I've heard about you. You're doing good. Keep it up. And that little thing, he may take that. The worker may take that, and that may fuel his fire even more. So the similar thing is happening with Krishna, that we're trying to gain his attention and his favor through developing the proper attitude of servant of the servant of the servant. So those were my comments here. And what we can understand is that the pure devotees, they don't have to necessarily go through all the formalities like we do. Like the gopis and Mother Yashoda in the spiritual world, they're spontaneously composing literature on the spot about Krishna. They just love him. It's just like they're so intimately bound to him, they just never stop thinking about him. And then Mother Yashoda is just like literally the greatest, poet. She just sings beautiful songs spontaneously on the spot about how wonderful her child is. So for us, our strategy is to hear from the acharyas and to repeat and glorify. Okay, so this one should be unmuted. That one should be disconnected from audio. Plug it in and go to the participant. Go to the participants and see if you see the bar. So then switch your settings up to volume, and then just make sure that the speaker's on the right one, little box. So, whereas so they're spontaneously making offerings to Krishna in pure love. Just like there's an example. There's one devotee who received Krishna in her home, and her husband were there, and Krishna literally came to their house. And they're pure devotees. They know he's God. And they were just freaking out because it's Krishna and he's at my house. And she was so like bewildered that she started to like, let me get you something. They like sat him down. This is the etiquette. It's like when guest comes, you give him a seat, give some water, some food, sweet words like that. Your attention, mostly attention. Those other things are like manifestations of attention, different intricacies. So she started peeling the bananas and she gave Krishna the peels instead of the banana. And he ate it. He said, wow, this is good. So that's the type of thing that the pure devotees, like, out of her perfect affection for him, even though there were so many faults in the execution, he accepted it with love. Similarly, there's another story about Krishna being visited by his childhood friend. Just like we're here, we're going to Rupanuga Vedic College, we're doing our studies, and we're developing friendships amongst ourselves. Similarly, Krishna also, he was in Gurukul. He studied with a guru, and he learned the science of the Vedic knowledge, though he is the source of it, right? He, for the sake of teaching the people in general, so he shaved his head. There's a beautiful picture of him with that. He has the shika, which is the sign of a student of a spiritual master. And so him and his brother Balaram, they were studying. And basically there's like 64 categories of Vedic arts. And in one day each, they would master the subject. Starting with like applying tilak, right? You're doing pretty good with that. Yeah, that's the art, It's kind of a subtle science, how to mark the body with the tilak and the sacred clays from the holy rivers. So then it goes and they learn music, they learn singing, they learn poetry, they learn dressing, so many wonderful arrangements that are described in Krishna book. One day a piece. So simultaneously, when Krishna was there, so was somebody named Sudama. He was from a Brahmana family. So he was from like a high class intellectual family, though his wealth was basically like zero. Very poor person. And so they went to school together and they got into some adventures where Krishna was instructed by his spiritual master, Sandi Panimuni, to go and get some firewood from the forest. And there was a huge storm. So they got stuck there. And then their spiritual master and with a bunch of other, boys went to go and find them. And so these were some of the adventures that bonded Krishna and Sudama. So one day, Sudama was there. He had his wife, and Krishna was in Dwarka, Mathura. So we say, Mathura ki jai, Mathura Dham ki jai. Dham means the holy places. So Mathura is where Krishna was actually born from Vasudeva and Devaki in the prison house of Kamsa. But then he actually, there's Mathura, and then there's Dwarka, which is close by. So this Dwarka Dham is where Krishna had his palaces. So he was very opulent. He had 16,108 queens, and he had palaces, and he had tons of wealth, and he would give it away to all the brahmanas. He'd give thousands of cows every day, or at least 1,000 plus. So Sudama Vipra was in the countryside, and he had this cottage with his wife, and he was like dirt poor. They didn't even have enough food even to eat, really. So they were like totally skinny and had like beat up clothes and all that. But he was completely satisfied being a devotee and performing his duties as a brahmana, which were to worship the Lord and to teach others to worship the Lord. But his wife was thinking, hey, this isn't right. We should, he should go, my husband should go and ask Krishna for some money, because we're just living like way too low. This isn't proper. So he agrees after being prodded by his wife, and he wants to take a gift. So he basically begs for some like pretty much like useless rice called chipped rice. I mean, usually when you see the bag of rice, all the grains are whole, in general. So when it's the bad stuff, it's like all the particles and all that, different stuff like that. So he had this quality rice, low quality rice, and he took it in a little bundle over his shoulder, and he went to go see Krishna. So then when Krishna received him, he treated him like he was he was God. That's the etiquette, is when a guest comes, especially uninvited guest, that person is treated as good as God. That's a phrase that we use in the Vedic culture, which it's not that we think that this person is God, but rather, according to the scriptures, Krishna wants me to treat this person as if it was himself. That applies to an uninvited guest. Somebody just shows up. We should be treated like that, with so much respect and honor, and give them whatever we can give them. Same thing for the spiritual master, which we do all the time. So Krishna treated him like that, and Krishna and his wife, Rukmini, literally worshipped him, washed his feet, sprinkled it on their heads. Like in the old days, they used to walk, they would walk and they get dusty because sandals, and they got to walk a long way. So wash his feet and then sprinkle the water on their heads. And then Rukmini was fanning him, and Krishna let Sudama sit on his own bed. And then they both worshipped him. Then he says, okay, thank you so much. And this is just the whole time they're just like absorbed in ecstasy, because they have so much affection for each other. And Sudama knows that Krishna is God and he's being worshipped. And because of their intimate relationship, he's allowing him to worship him, but always staying the servant. So the ecstasy is just unbelievable between them. And then he says, okay, well, I have something for you. And he pulls out this little rice. And it's just, So he actually, Krishna has to ask for it. That was another detail that Krishna says, okay, I think you have brought something for me. he was just had forgotten about it. And he says, no, I want that. So he gives him some of the rice and he eats it. And Rukmini saying, hey, you don't need any more of that. That's fine. He doesn't need any more, because, she's used to treating him with like high class foods and all this. She says, no, okay, we're done with that. But she tells Sudama, just whatever you have already given him, you're going to receive unlimited wealth, unlimited opulence, because of Krishna has been pleased with your offering, even though it was so insignificant. So he doesn't need to eat anymore. So she was kind of like trying to say that, hey, this isn't good for Krishna, but still she was nice about it. Anyway, putting it my way, but nicely. So anyway, this is the pure love of the devotees for Krishna and Krishna's pure love for them. So we on our platform, we are trying to show Krishna that we're determined to learn to love him properly. You know, I don't love him. I don't know how to love him properly, but I want to know and I'm ready to work for it. That's what we want to show Krishna. That's what we're doing with our rounds, our morning practice, and the way we live our life. And we specifically get his attention when he chant his holy names. If we chant with utmost attention, calling to Krishna, trying our best to hear the holy names, not fall asleep, then chant properly. Then when we go out for preaching, when we go out for Sankirtan, we have a purity, and Krishna will let us give his blessings to others. And when we do that, we really get his attention. And then it's like a cumulative or a reciprocal thing. We've gotten his attention. Then we chant more enthusiastically. We do our sadhana with more enthusiasm, more determination, more confidence. Then he gives us more ability to give blessings to others. We build our enthusiasm for doing that service for him. We get even more attention like that. So that's the idea, is to just be the humble servant of the acharyas. Prabhupada's preaching. Just like I can say a few words, you know. When someone gives their attention, it's quite a gift. Because if I'm speaking about Krishna, it's an opportunity for me to purify myself. So they give me a little time on the street, maybe even just a few moments. It's a big opportunity for me. What's their opportunity? They get to take Prabhupada. They let me give them they give me a few moments to encourage them to take Prabhupada home with them. And when they take him home, they don't just get him, they get Krishna, they get the whole spiritual world. They get everybody, everything. So he's doing the preaching and we're just trying to help. Anyway, thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.